The Gina and Matty podcast.
Yesterday on the show, we're talking about this weird experience that Drew Barrymore had. Kind of catfishing, kind of just lying about. Just have a listen to what she says.
This guy on my dating app said he was the quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, okay, keep talking.
So I wrote to him and I was like, oh my God, I went to the first practice game. I was so frustrated being a girl from Los Angeles who loves football, and like we didn't have any teams, and then I moved away to New York, and then we got 2 teams, and it's nice to meet you. My name is Drew. He was not the quarterback for the LA Rams. He's a musician that thought he was being cute.
You should...
So I don't know. I'm not single. Lozzie, you're
our expert.
You're our resident single person.
Oh, God help us.
Yeah, you do. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. But I was so he tried to sell it. She bought it and was like, "I'm a fan," and then he's like, "Oh no, I've told the wrong lie."
Oh wow. Yeah.
But he's a musician. She's dated musicians before. I think she dated the drummer from the Strokes. So if he opened with that, I'm sure it would have been fine as well. But
he opened with a lie.
Is that a deal breaker straight away? If you're lying about his occupation, say you went on a date last night, for example. Just say you went on one. The guy said to you he works in sales, and he ends up being an apprentice baker. Yeah. Is that like, oh, I'm not going to... Gone. Or do you give him another chance?
That sounds to me like there was a little bit well structured. Someone who used to be an apprentice baker.
Yeah, I think so.
Done?
If it was something like that, I'd be like, oh, okay, sure. Like it's he, and it was just general like chit chat first time you met. But if you're going along with the lie, like he was to Drew, and she's talking about and getting invested, and he's obviously just played along and they got too far. It's too far gone.
You can't dig yourself out of that.
You can't.
Especially that early, I think.
It's a huge lie too. No, I've changed my mind. Yes, it is. Don't lie.
No, just the truth. So did she ditch him?
Yeah,
yes.
gone. No,
yes.
She's like, oh, what's the point?
And now he's getting, well, no one knows who it is, but she's really like, you'd be jarred from that, and then you wouldn't trust anyone.
Yeah, that's true. Poor Drew.
Sometimes the best thing to do is just be yourself, guys.
Oh.
But I had a mate that used to say his line was that he was a roller coaster engineer. Right, so he'd go out, and he wasn't. He was, I don't know what he was doing at the time, but it wasn't that. And he'd go, oh, I'm a roller coaster engineer, because it's interesting enough to spark a conversation. Yeah. But then no one knows enough about roller coaster engineering to ask too many questions about it.
I guess.
But I have to come clean about something as well.
What have you done?
So
Matthew.
when I first started dating my now wife, my first wife I call her, she loves that. We worked together for 6 months before we started dating, and we used to drive around the radio station cars, handing out the Aussie cold cans of Coke and the latest copy of Dolly magazine. And we're on the corner at Terrigal Drive at the McDonald's. Come on over. But so we used to drive around all over the place, and I was like, oh, I'll take you past my house. This is when I liked her, right? I really liked her. I was always out of my league. In my head, always out of my league. She's too hot. She's too cool. She's too worldly. So, and as I'm driving up the street where I grew up, I had this moment where I was like, oh, my house, like, it's pretty modest, right? It's just a red brick, mid-century, super Aussie home. And as I'm driving up, I was like, oh. And there's a really nice house at the end of my street.
No, you didn't.
And I drove past the house that I grew up in, and I was like, that's the house. But I just thought that was it. But then 6 months later, we started dating. And I'm like, oh, no. I have to come clean and tell her, actually, it's not that mansion at the end of the street. It's actually just the little red brick. And she's like, why did you? I was trying to impress you.
Yeah. I can see you knocking on the mansion's door and going, hi, Mum.
Yeah. Uncle Terry, why are you here? We'll come back tomorrow.
And then you say to your girlfriend, she's got dementia. She doesn't remember me.
Anyway, needless to say, 9-10 years later and 3 kids, it didn't damage the relationship.
Lucky.
The Gina and Matty podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.